Good morning, y'all. Happy Tuesday. My apologies, I was late again. I had it scheduled, sat down to go live, and I got sick. And I had to run to the bathroom real quick. But anyways, I'm ready to talk about the monster, Susan Smith. I cannot stand Susan Smith. She's up there on my list of all the monsters I hate. She's number one. Of course, there's a few of them that's number one on my list of monsters. But today is the anniversary of Susan Smith murdering her young kids, Michael and Alex, 28 years ago today. So I thought we would talk about the weirdo this morning. I think last year I actually did a stream on the anniversary of the murders. And guess what? I actually found the letter that Susan wrote to her lover, Tom Finley. And I found the letter that he wrote back to her that allegedly pushed her over the edge and made her murder her children. Let's see, who was in here? Donald, good morning. Hibiscus, good morning. I don't know if you're still in here, Hibiscus, but I've been praying for your husband. How's he doing, hon? I was going to message you this morning, and I fell back asleep on the couch watching Deadly Women. Y'all that pray, please say a prayer for Hibiscus' husband. He has been real sickly, like for months. And, she's a good wife. She stands by his side, stays in the hospital with him. That's rough on her, too. Oh, there you go, girl. I was just saying, everybody pray. Pray for your husband. Is he doing better? Okay, kidneys not good, but trying to get them better. Was it still that one thing you told me, though? In messages that they tested him for? My stomach's not been feeling too good this morning. I sat down to go live, and I had to go to the bathroom. I got sick. At work today, just waiting game. Yes, he's still... Okay. Well, let me know what they say and stuff, and I'm praying for him. I know it's real hard on you. Okay, it's hard when you stay in the hospital and someone's sick, and you're worried to death about them. You're having to miss work, and it's salmonella. I didn't want to say it, girl. I didn't want to say what they tested him for without your permission. Okay, so there's Susan Smith. And guess what I discovered, guys? Susan Smith has a boyfriend. He's 40-some years old. He's got grown children. He's divorced. And they write each other love letters. And they're planning on getting married when she makes parole. Does she really think she's getting out? Hold on, I got something on my screen. Getting out on parole. She murdered these two beautiful children right here. Why is it showing like that? Oh, okay. I mean, just because they say 30 years with the possibility of parole doesn't mean you're getting out. You can't just drown two children and get paroled out of prison. And plus, she's not being a model prisoner. She's not being a model prisoner. Okay, let me get back to my chat here for a sec. I'm going to pull it up on my phone. That way I don't have problems with my Chromebook. I tell y'all what, I'm not going to buy a laptop because Timothy's got this big gaming thing here, computer, and this huge monitor. It didn't come with a webcam. That's why I can't use it to stream. But I'm going to buy a webcam for him so that I can use this gaming computer to stream, and we will be fancy, y'all. Fancy. Okay, let me find my chat here. Let's turn down the volume. Okay, live chat. Hey, Mike, good morning. Mike, remember, we got to do John Benet Ramsey in December for Homicide for the Holidays. We think caused by ground turkey, the only meal we didn't eat at the same time. Oh, I bet it could have been from the turkey. Now, I've never, let me see, I don't think I've ever had food poisoning. But my mom ate at Long John Silver's one time over in Whitesburg, Kentucky. And she was sick as a dog. She had to go to the emergency room. Mike says, yes. Mike, you need to start your John Benet Ramsey channel and put out some videos of all the info you've got, because you're real knowledgeable about that case, because you've read all the documents and everything. Okay, let's get into, did I say hi to Miss Vicky? Hey, Miss Vicky, how are you doing? I can't remember who I say hi to. Let's get into Susan Smith. I can't believe it's been 28 years, y'all. I used my calculator because I'm not good with math, and it said 28 years. This happened in 94. So, and we're going to go through all of her life. I'm going to give commentary here. And I just want to say that David Smith, her estranged husband at the time, he went on to marry a wonderful woman, I reckon, and he had a daughter and son. And they know all about Alex and Michael and what happened. I was just thinking this morning, I wonder if today, Susan Smith, if it will go through her brain. Today's the day that I murdered my kids. Of course, it happened at nighttime. It was dark. But I wonder if that goes through her brain today. I know David, it'll go through his brain today. My kids were murdered on this day by this bitch I used to be married to. Look how cute. Now, this is how I got into true crime. Really. My granny was watching this. I always like scary movies and stuff, but my granny was watching this on TV. Susan Smith was on TV in front of the cameras saying, please bring my babies home. You know how she talks. She talks more country than I do. And my granny said she did something to those kids. She won't even look up and make eye contact. And what, 9 days later, yeah, she admits to it. Okay. So this one picture is one of her recent mugshot right here. How'd you get that eyeliner? She probably used a daggone pencil. They heat up a pencil lead. Of course, some prisons do sell cosmetics and things, because it looks like her hair's even straightened. She's getting gray, though. Susan Lee Smith. She was born Susan Lee Vaughn, I think, September 26, 1971. American woman, convicted of murdering her two sons, 3-year-old Michael, 14-month-old Alexander, in 1994 by drowning them in a Union, South Carolina lake. The case gained international attention because of Susan's false claim that a black man had kidnapped her sons during a carjacking. Her defense attorneys, David Bruck, Jody Clark, called expert witnesses to testify that she had mental health issues that impaired her judgment when she committed the crimes. Well, guess what, lady? I got mental health issues too, and I've never, ever thought about harming my child or anybody else's. Smith was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. According to the South Carolina Department of Corrections, she will be eligible for parole on November 4th, 2024. She is incarcerated at the Leith Correctional Institution near Greenwood, South Carolina. Now, we're going to read through her family background. You know, everybody tries to make excuses for Susan. Oh, she was abused. Oh, her dad committed suicide. You know, as an excuse why she killed her kids. Hey, a lot of us has lost loved ones to suicide. My grandfather committed suicide when I was about, 12, 13 years old. Okay. Smith rarely had a stable home growing up. Her father committed suicide when she was 6 years old. Susan Smith herself attempted suicide at age 13. Her mother then married Beverly Russell, a member of the local chapter of the Christian Coalition, who later was revealed to have molested Susan when she was a teenager. One newspaper claimed that sexual relations between them had continued until 6 months before the murders. And she admitted this to her lover, Tom Finley, that she was still continuing to have sex with her stepfather. After graduating from high school in 1989, Susan Smith made a second attempt to kill herself after a married man she was in a relationship with ended their affair. Susan likes married men. She married David Smith, They had 2 sons. The relationship was rocky due to mutual allegations of infidelity, and they separated several times. Yeah, they both, they shouldn't have even been married. They should have never had freaking kids together. I think how they met is they actually worked at a grocery store together, and the married man that she attempted to kill herself over when she was young, I think he worked at that grocery store too, maybe a manager or something. On October 25th, 1994, Susan Smith reported to police that her vehicle had been carjacked by a black man who drove away with her son still inside. For 9 days, she made dramatic pleas on national television for their safe return. However, following an extensive investigation and a nationwide search for them, she confessed on November 3rd, 1994, to letting her car roll into nearby John D. Long Lake, drowning them inside. Her motivation was reportedly to facilitate a relationship with a local wealthy man named Tom Finlay, and I found him on Twitter. I found him. We can look at his pictures. Prior to the murders, he had sent Susan a letter ending their relationship, and I'll read that to y'all, and expressing that he did not want children. She said that there was no motive, nor did she plan the murder, stating that she was not in her right state of mind when she killed her children. Later, a later investigation revealed that detectives doubted Susan's story from the start and believed that she had murdered her sons. By the second day of the investigation, the police suspected that she knew their location and hoped that they were still alive. Investigators started to search the nearby lakes and ponds, including John D. Long Lake, where the bodies were eventually found. Yeah, and it wasn't that far from the boat ramp. The car. Initial water searches did not locate the car because the police believed it would be within 30 feet of the shore and did not search farther. It turned out to be 122 feet from the shore. After the boys had been missing for 2 days, Susan and David were subjected to a polygraph test. The biggest breakthrough of the case was her description of the carjacking location. She had claimed that a traffic light had turned red, causing her to stop at an otherwise empty intersection. However, it was determined that that light would not turn red for her unless another vehicle was present on the intersecting road. This conflicted with her statement that she did not see any other cars there when the carjacking took place. Wait, did I miss a part? Hold on a minute. No, I didn't. Okay, hold on. So what happened was she had been arguing with Tom Finley that day. She was upset that he had written her a letter and ended their relationship. And in the letter, it did say because of her kids. But it also went on to say other things like basically Susan is a hoe. They were from 2 totally different worlds. Basically, he was telling her, hey, I was raised right and you wasn't. And, our lives are just, we're just from 2 totally different places. Anyway, she was upset that day. She had her kids in the car. She picked them up from daycare or something. She went to a local bar, left the kids in the car, walked in and talked to somebody, asked them if Tom had said anything about her. And of course, he hadn't. I think she went to the place that Tom worked at and that Susan worked at. See, Tom's dad owned the company, and they made like trimmings for chairs, fabrics, and stuff like that. I think she went there, and that didn't end well. Basically, he told her it was over. So from there, I think she went back home. Then she got the kids ready and put them in the car. And she said she went driving around, and she went to the lake, And she said that she was going to commit suicide herself, but decided just to kill the boys. And she rode the car into the lake. It was dark by this time. And she sat there as the car like bobbled in the freaking water. It took like 18 minutes to sink because they got another car identical to Susan's little red Nissan and did a reenactment for the jury and stuff. And I think it took like 18 minutes to sink. Then what she did is she ran to a house that was nearby and told them that she had been hijacked by a black man. I mean, people was upset about this because she accused a black man. You know how it is in the South anyways, so people was really upset about this. Anyways, from the very beginning, police were onto her. They knew something wasn't right. Their first giveaway was saying that she was stopped at that red light when that light wouldn't have been red if there was another, a car around. It wouldn't have been red, where, there wasn't another car across the road. Hold on a minute. Let me get back to my stuff. So we're going to go to, hold on. This wasn't the best article I had here. Hold on. Let me get back to my stuff. SusanSmith, she's a piece of crap. And poor David, during this time, after this happened, he is distraught because, he was a good father. And standing by her damn side, and the whole time, it was her. Okay. So in 1995, David Bruck and Jody Clark served as co-counsel for SusanSmith. In their opening statements, Clark argued Smith was deeply troubled, experienced severe depression. Clark told the jury, "This is not a case about evil. This is a case about despair and sadness." Really? Yeah, it is a case about evil. The defense's theory of the case was that Susan drove to the edge of the lake to kill herself and her two sons, but her body willed itself out of the car. The prosecution, on the other hand, believes she murdered her sons in order to start a new life with a former lover. Even if she had gotten away with this, guys, he wouldn't have been with Susan. He did not want to be with her. He knew what kind of person she was. Okay, to be with her former lover. It took a jury only 2.5 hours to convict her of murdering them. During the penalty phase, Tommy Pope, the lead prosecutor in the Smith case, argued passionately in favor of sentencing SusanSmith to death. The jury ultimately voted against imposing the death penalty. SusanSmith's defense psychiatrist diagnosed her with dependent personality disorder and major depression. Okay, I'm going to have to click on this because I don't know what that is. Let's see what dependent personality disorder is. DPD is characterized by a pervasive psychological dependence on other people. That's kind of what I thought. This personality disorder is a long-term condition in which people depend on others to meet their emotional and physical needs, with only a minority achieving normal levels of independence. Dependent personality disorder is a cluster C personality disorder. Sonia needs to write up something about this because she's real good. Which is characterized by excessive fear and anxiety. It begins prior to early adulthood, and it is present in a variety of contexts and is associated with inadequate functioning. Symptoms can include anything from extreme being extremely passive, devastation, or helplessness when relationships end, avoidance of responsibility, and severe submission. Okay, so that's what she was diagnosed with. Okay, so Susan was incarcerated in the Administrative Segregation Unit in Camille Griffin Graham Correctional Institution in Columbia, South Carolina. During Smith's incarceration at Camille Griffin Graham Correctional Institution, two correctional officers, Lieutenant Houston Cagle, Captain Alfred R. Rowe Jr., were charged after having sex with her. Consequently, she was moved to the Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood. That's why she had sex with these guards, so that she could get them in trouble and get moved to where she wanted to be. It's always what Susan wants, whatever Susan wants. Susan wanted to be free of being married and having children. It was all what Susan wanted. So she went and she murdered her children. One reason she murdered her children is so that Tom Finley would come and rescue her and put his arms around her and say, "Oh my God, Susan, I am so sorry for your loss." That is one reason. I've got some more stuff, guys. It's not over yet. Got some more stuff. We're going to read the letters right now that Susan wrote Tom. I can't see chat. Let me get them pulled up. I found them last night. The letter that she wrote him and the one he wrote her back that was found in the car. And I just want to say, when them little boys was found, when the divers found them, I believe it was Alex or Michael one of their little hands was pressed up against the glass of the car. He's probably trying to get out. Can you imagine that? The fear that must have been going through their minds and how they must have been screaming and crying as they realized they were in the water and the water started coming up in the car. Oh my goodness, that evil bitch. I have always said that they should have took her and put her in a car and drowned her in that damn lake. That's what should have been done. I know that's not legal. Okay, Finley Smith letters right here. Let me see. I'm going to show y'all what Tom Finley looks like. Now, this is what she was crazy about. Hold on. Let me find it. Let me get out this image. Hold on. He looks dramatically different. I had to do some research to find him last night when I was laying on the couch, which wasn't too hard. He's a graphic artist. See, he had to move out of Union, South Carolina after this happened. He did testify at her trial. Okay, let me see. See if I can get his picture pulled up. I'm clicking and it's not wanting to do too much. Let me click on images. Yeah, he's a graphic artist. I mean, he is damn good at painting and stuff. See, if you just punch in his name right here, it really doesn't show anything but SusanSmith in an old photo of him. Let me present it. Was it Michael's hands, Donald? Thank you. Yeah, it was pressed up against the window. Hey, that really, really bothered those divers. Right there. Look, David's a lot better looking than Tommy boy, in my opinion. Oh, look, here's a book. My daughter, Susan Smith. My daughter, Susan Smith. What's that say? $108 for a freaking book? Are they crazy? Look, there's David and Susan's, is that their wedding pictures? I don't think that's them. Okay, let me quit screen sharing a minute because I want to find his new picture before I read these letters. If I put in his name, I found it on my phone easy. Yeah, he's an artist, man. He does really good. Oh, right here he is. Okay. Let me get it for you. I think he really liked it because Susan, thought so highly of him. Yeah, right here he is. You can tell it's him, too. Here's another one of his things. Look at all that art behind him. How nice. Yeah, he went to college. And that's what he told Susan in one of his letters. He's like, where I'm from, you grow up, you go to college and get an education. Where you're from, you grow up and get married and have kids. And he's like, I can't even begin to comprehend that at that age, Yeah, so there he is today. He's got his own art gallery. And the way I found him, I had to punch in Tom Finley now, SusanSmith, and it come up. And I got to look, and I was like, yeah, that's him. This guy's a graphic artist. Let's see what this one is. An angel appeared to them. Let's visit this article, see what it says. Well, I don't guess we got to. Hold on. Let me go back. We're going to read the letters here. We don't need to look at his art. I'm getting off track here. Okay, let me find my letters here. Right here. Okay. Miss Smith's letter, handwritten, not dated. Dear Tom, just a note to say thank you for everything. I could never express in words how much you mean to me. I will always treasure our friendship and all the many wonderful memories we have made. I want you to know that I've never felt with anyone the way I feel when I'm with you. Yeah, right. I have never felt so needed. See, that right there describes her, that disorder she's got. She needs to be needed. You're a very special person, and that is part of why making love to you is so wonderful. Ugh. I know how you feel about our relationship, and I respect that. I'm appreciative of your honesty with me, but I do want us to be friends forever. I'll never let anything happen that would change that. He doesn't want to be friends with the murderer, a woman that murders her children. I do hope that we will be able to date some and be together again someday. But if we never made love again, my feelings for you would not change, because having you as my friend is worth more than sex could ever be worth. Ugh. Once again, I'm sorry for Saturday night and would take it back in it says heart-shaped design beat if I could. I really wanted to be with you and hated that I wasn't. Well, they was at Tom's dad's fancy-wancy mansion having a party. There was other co-workers there. And everybody was naked, partying in the hot tub. She's supposed to be in there with Tom. What's she doing? She's in the hot tub kissing some married man they work with. Okay. Once again, I'm sorry for Saturday night. I would take it back in a heartbeat if I could. I really wanted to be with you and hated that I wasn't. Excuse me. Thank you for being there for me through all the rough times. You're a true friend. I want you to know that I will always love and care for you for the rest of my life. Really? I wonder if she still loves him. You're the best friend anyone could ever have. Yeah, he's quite a rich friend, too. Well, I hope I've said everything right. The bottom line is, I'm glad we are friends, and that is all we can be. Then we will just have to do a hell of a job of being that. Who knows what the future holds for our relationship? I'm just going to live one day at a time, and you're living one day at a time in freaking prison. One more thing before I go. Please don't ever hesitate to call me if you need anything. I will always be there for you. Friends forever, 2 heart-shaped designs, Susan. Okay, here's Tom Finlay's letter, and he typed it. He didn't even handwrite it. Okay, he says, Dear Susan, this is a difficult letter for me to write because I know how much you think of me. And I want you to know that I am flattered that you have such a high opinion of me. Susan, I value our friendship very much. You're one of the few people on this earth that I feel I can tell anything. You are intelligent, beautiful, sensitive, understanding, and possess many other wonderful qualities that I and many other men appreciate. Oh, was she a freak in the sheets or something? Okay, you will, without a doubt, make some lucky man a great wife, but unfortunately, it won't be me. Even though you think we have much in common, we are vastly different. We have been raised in 2 totally different environments, and therefore think totally different. Basically, he was telling her she's white trash. Okay. For my first 2 years in Union, I dated very little, but then Laura came along. We met at Conso, the company Finley's father operates, where SusanSmith also worked. I fell for her like a ton of bricks. Well, even though I fell in love with Laura, I had my doubts about a long and lasting commitment. But I never said anything, and eventually I hurt her very, very deeply. I won't do that again. Well, you must not have been too in love, honey. Susan, I could really fall for you. But like I have told you before, there are some things about you that aren't suited for me. And yes, I am speaking about your children. You know what I'd have told him? I'd have told him to go get effed if he'd said that about my son. To me, ever. Okay, let me see. Okay. Hold on. Yes, I am speaking about your children. I'm sure your kids are good kids, but it really wouldn't matter how good they may be. The fact is, I just don't want children. These feelings may change one day, but I doubt it. With all the crazy mixed up things that take place in this world today, I just don't have the desire to bring another life into it. And I don't want to be responsible for anyone else's children either. But I'm very thankful that there are people like you who are not so selfish as I am and don't mind bearing the responsibility of children. Well, honey, she did mind bearing the responsibility of children. That's why she killed them. But our differences go far beyond the children issue. We are just 2 totally different people, and eventually those differences would cause us to break up. But don't be discouraged. There is someone out there for you. In fact, it's probably someone that you may not know at this time, or that you may know, but would never expect. Either way, before you settle down with anyone again, there is something you need to do. Susan, because you got pregnant and married at such an early age, you missed out on much of your youth. I mean, one minute you were a kid, the next minute you were having kids. Because I come from a place where everyone had the desire and the money to go to college, having the responsibility of children at such a young age is beyond my comprehension. Anyhow, my advice to you is to wait. Be very choosy about your next relationship. I can see this may be a bit difficult for you because you're a bit boy crazy, but as the proverb states, good things come to those who wait. I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and have a good time. In fact, I think you should do just that. But just don't get seriously involved with anyone until you've done the things in life that you want to do first. Susan, I'm not mad at you about what happened this weekend. Actually, I'm very thankful. And he's talking about her kissing that married coworker in the hot tub at that party. As I told you, I was starting to let my heart warm up to the idea of us going out as more than just friends. But seeing you kiss another man puts things back into perspective. Yeah, he remembered she was a hoe. Back into perspective. I remember how I hurt Laura, and I won't let that happen again. He must still have feelings for this Laura. He keeps mentioning her. Therefore, I can't let myself get close to you. Y'all see how he's making excuses of why he can't be with her? He just didn't want to be with her. He thought she was white trash and a hoe. That's what he thought. It wasn't really the kids. It was more Susan. Because, if he had really fell for Susan and had strong feelings, her kids wouldn't have mattered. He would have accepted them. Okay. I remember how I hurt Laura, and I won't let that happen again, and therefore I cannot let myself get close to you. And as for your relationship with B. Brown, reportedly friend Benji Brown, of course you have to make your own decision in life, but remember, you have to live with the consequences also. Everyone is held accountable for their actions, and I would hate for people to perceive you as an unreputable person. He didn't want people to see her as a hoe. If you want to catch a nice guy like me one day, you have to act like a nice girl. And nice girls don't sleep with married men. Wow. Besides, I want you to feel good about yourself. And I'm afraid that if you sleep with B. Brown, or any other married man for that matter, you will lose your self-respect. She never had none anyways. I know I did when we were messing around earlier this year. Well, he said he lost his self-respect when he was messing around with her. I care for you, but also care for Susan Brown. And I would hate to see anyone get hurt. Susan may say she wouldn't care, says Copy Unintelligible. Husband had an affair, but you and I know that's not true. Hold on, Cleo. Anyway, I have already told you, you're a very special person. Don't settle for mediocre in life. Go for it all and only settle for the best. I do. It is 11:50 p.m. I am getting very sleepy. But I wanted to write you this letter because you are the one who is making all the effort for me. Yeah, she's obsessed with him. And I wanted to return the friendship. Again, you will always have my friendship, and your friendship is one that I will always look upon with some sincere affection. Well, Tommy boy, do you still look upon y'all's friendship with sincere affection? I seriously doubt it. Man, he is a talented artist, though. I'm going to get over to my chat here. She is in a cell by herself, has been since she got caught with men and women, with sneaking in the back late. Hey, preschool granny. Hey, that's all right. I'm just reading about SusanSmith. We're going to watch some more. We're going to see if we can find a SusanSmith interview. When her kid, I like making fun of her in these interviews. She's like, I just want my babies back. Ooh, gosh, guys, y'all look at this. This is one of the prison guards that she got caught messing around with. Ooh, I gotta go grab some coffee. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Da, 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 da. Let me see if this is the one. Oh, no, that's not it. Crap. Oh, okay. I kicked myself off. Hold on. I meant to share YouTube. I found this picture on YouTube and I was sharing Google. Da, 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 da. Hold on. She's a piece of trash. Look at that. Can you imagine letting that thing right there touch you? Ooh, could you imagine? How could you get aroused by a woman that murdered her little bitty babies? Yes, they were babies. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Excuse me, Cleo. Excuse me, baby. Hey, lady, stop it. She's not bothering you. Let me move this. You shouldn't be having food back here to begin with. Hold on a minute, guys. I gotta put something up here. Okay, so there's one of the prison guards. Their lover. Let's see. We'll probably get in trouble with Dr. Oz here. I don't know if it'll load up or not. Let me stop screen sharing. It might load up. Skip ad. Let's see what he says. I want to listen to her old interview, though. That's what I was really looking for. He looks like Santa Bill. Hey, I watch Santa Claus live on TikTok. He does live streams. I think I'm going to start trying to stream on TikTok a little bit. Is this muted or something? Look, I can't even find the volume button at the bottom. See what? Oh, here we go. And it went away.
With an inmate prior to Susan Smith.
Look at him. Oh, my dear Lord.
Never. Something happened with Susan Smith. Behavior towards you changed.
We can't listen to much. This is Dr. Oz.
Yeah. What happened? The actual event.
She became more.
What happened?
She became interested in seeking me out as a supervisor.
Yeah, because she
problems or complaints that she might have.
For any problems or complaints that she might have.
I stopped screen sharing.
At the time, I didn't realize that's what she was doing until.
Can y'all hear that still?
Everything came to light at the end.
What kind of things does Susan say to you that, in retrospect, convinced you that it was worth crossing the line?
She just began talking about how lonely she was and how lonely I looked, and how maybe if I was willing, since the person she had been having sex with had left and been transferred, that I'd fill that place and that void in her life.
A different guard?
Yes.
Did Susan Smith...
I'm finding something, guys.
In her way, yes. That was her goal, was to seduce me or someone else to feel that.
You can't hear that?
She had.
Okay.
What actually was the moment when she got you to cross the line?
He was just saying that basically, you know, he was the supervisor and she sought him out, told him that he looked lonely, that she was lonely. You know, would he be interested in basically having sex with her because the other guard that she was having sex with was transferred. So he started messing around with her. Now, she planned this out because she wanted to move. She wanted to move prisons. She even told on him. Susan Smith, she is not, I mean, besides sleeping with two guards, allegedly, she has had a couple STDs. She would even pay other inmates to keep an eye out so she could have sex with different inmates and guards and stuff. I mean, Susan, she's nothing but pure white trash. She probably put a bag over his head. Well, you couldn't put nothing over that big belly. Lord have mercy. You'd have to be desperate to sleep with Susan Smith. I mean, how could you be turned on by that? Really? Knowing this woman drowned her kids. I mean, that's one of my biggest fears, guys, is drowning. I just think, or burning up in a fire. I mean, that's probably the cruelest ways that you could kill somebody is by drowning them or suffocating them, burning them up. I'm sure that it didn't take much to manipulate these guards or the other way around. Yeah, it didn't take much. You know, some men, not all men, but some men think with their, you know what, their profits and not their head on their shoulders. Okay, let me see if I can find this. Susan Smith interview. And we're going to read about her new lover too. Let me see. Oh, I can play what that guard was saying from my phone. Hold on a minute. So we'll know exactly what went down. I'll just keep trying to talk so we don't get in trouble.
For the infamous murders of her young sons, Susan Smith has been disciplined twice for having sex with prison guards. One of those former prison guards, Alfred Rowe, joins us exclusively now. I know it's difficult to talk about, but we'll go back to the beginning. You were a prison guard for 15 years.
Yes.
15
Have you ever
years.
slept with an inmate prior to Susan Smith?
Never.
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 Something happened with Susan Smith. Her behavior towards you changed about a month before the actual event.
Yeah.
What happened?
She became more interested in seeking me out as a supervisor for any problems or complaints that she might have. She'd wait until my crew came on and find me to talk about it, which at the time I didn't realize that's what she was doing until afterwards, and everything came to light at the end.
Well, you must be
What kind of
dumb.
things did Susan say to you that, in retrospect, convinced you that it was worth crossing the line?
She just began talking about how lonely she was and how lonely I looked, and how that maybe if I was willing, since the person she had been having sex with had left and been transferred, that I'd fill that place and that void in her life.
A different guard?
Yes.
Did Susan Smith seduce you?
In her way, yes. That was her goal, was to seduce me or someone else to fill that emptiness that she had.
And what actually was the moment when she got you to cross the line? What happened that day?
She was in charge of an entertainment session that we had in the gymnasium. I was the only one available to oversee it. And after the event was over, she had to clean. So she and I were locked in that gymnasium for an hour and a half while she done her cleanup and got it ready for the next day.
Wow.
You had sex. Did you feel guilty about it?
I felt guilty about it probably within an hour of it happening.
How many times did you have sex with Susan Smith?
Just the one night.
So you just heard Melissa Moore, who's been talking by phone frequently with Susan Smith. And they've become intimate enough that this came up. And Susan Smith claims that you seduced her and that she had sex with you several times.
That doesn't surprise me with Susan. The whole time that I knew her, a lot of the things that she would bring up didn't really happen within the confines of the institution.
So she's lying about multiple sexual events with you.
So he's saying, okay, we better not listen too much more because that's Dr. Oz and I'll get in big trouble with freaking YouTube. But she's saying they had sex more than one time. He's saying they only had sex once. Hey, once is bad enough. He said he felt guilty within an hour. Like, how could you even be turned on by a woman that murdered her kids, drowned her kids? Okay. So now let's read about her new lover, notorious child killer Susan Smith. She's 50 years old now, who's been in prison since drowning her sons in 94, has a boyfriend. Divorced father of two, in his 40s, began writing to her after seeing a documentary about her last year. How could a good father, maybe he's not a good father, how could a good father want anything to do with a woman that murdered her two young sons? Hey, Melanie, how you doing, hon? Okay, Susan Smith, one of the most notorious prisoners in South Carolina's prison system, has been sending romantic letters to her boyfriend from the prison where she served a life sentence for drowning her two young sons in 1994. Susan Smith, now 50, has reportedly started a long-distance relationship with an unnamed man, with the hopes that the relationship will continue if she's released on parole in November 2024, a family member told People. The man, a divorcee who reportedly works in home construction, has two adult children, was described as being in his 40s and living just outside the state capital of Columbia. The mystery man allegedly wrote to Susan after seeing a documentary about her and her crimes. They write letters all the time, the family member told the outlet. They started about a year ago, handwritten letters about their future, what their future will be. She's very romantic like that, always wanting to find a happily ever after. How in the hell is she going to find a happily ever after? She murdered her 2 young kids. Just think, if she hadn't have murdered them, she wouldn't be in prison. She could have grandkids right now. Gosh. Okay. In one letter obtained by the news outlet, Susan wrote that, "I hope to get to see you, FTF, face to face soon." In a second letter, she wrote, "I can't believe I can fall for someone I've never met." Smith has spent more than 26 years in a South Carolina jail for murdering her 3-year-old son Michael and 14-month-old Alex after a man she was having an affair with said he didn't want kids. They always say that, but it was more to it than he just didn't want kids. But in Susan's mind, it was because she had kids. And if she could get rid of those kids, Tom would want her. And besides that, Tom would feel sorry for her that her kids were kidnapped and killed. That's what her freaking motive was. Melanie, eating my lunch. Well, honey, you may get sick. Us talking about Susan Smith and you eating lunch. Now, I do want to find one of her interviews where she was like, "I just want my babies back." She kills me, guys. I hate Susan Smith with the passion. And that John D. Long Lake, yeah, that place is cursed because there's like a little memorial set up there for Michael and Alex. And a few years after the crimes, there was a family of 7 that went there to the lake, and they was just parked on the boat ramp, right? Well, something happened, and that van rolled into the lake, and they all drowned. Like 7 of them drowned there. Isn't that crazy? It's sad. News, let me see. Crap, I had it and pushed out of it. Interview. I can't stand Susan Smith, y'all. Ooh, if I could get my hands on her. Let me click on this one and see what this one says.
Sons, 3-year-old Michael and Alexander, who was just over a year old. The Union County Sheriff says Smith is repentant and heartbroken. Her car was pulled from a murky lake Thursday. The bodies of the boys were strapped in the back seat. An autopsy revealed the boys were not killed beforehand. They drowned. In West Palm Beach, Florida, a mother has been charged with killing her child. 24-year-old Pauline Zile is being held without bail.
In fact, on the relationship between you and Mitchell Sinclair, the man that...
For them to do that, I was aware they were going to do that, and I understand that's just one of the normalities they have to do in any investigation.
Sources close to the investigation, Susan, have told NBC News that federal agents are focusing, in fact, on the relationship between you and Mitchell Sinclair, the man that you were going to visit that night, the man you said you were going to visit with your children. They've told NBC that there were inconsistencies in your stories. Do you know what inconsistencies they were referring to?
No, ma'am, I really do not know that, but I would like to say that.
Ever who done this video, they've cut off her interview and everything. And
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of her children, Michael 3 and Alexander 14 months. His vehicle, a 1990 Mazda, driven by Smith, was located late Thursday afternoon in Lake John D. Long near Union. 2 bodies were found in the vehicle's back seat. Identities are pending an autopsy.
She needs a psychiatrist. She needs something worse than that.
she needs a psychiatrist.
This is the worst way that Union County could ever be brought on the news. It hurts to know that somebody
I'm trying to find something, guys.
Some folks in the black community tonight tell me that there will be much healing to be done here, and it's going to take quite a while. Let's listen now to some folks, both black and white, how they feel that this healing will take place here in Union County.
They're always accusing black people of doing things that they do themselves.
Anytime you say black man and white woman, it's all over, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the black community, they were pissed that she blamed a black man for carjacking her and taking her kids. I mean, they were pissed.
I mean, that's my opinion. Anytime you say
Can't
a black
blame
man, that's
That's it. And that's why a lot of us are single now. All of our men are locked up. Some of them are innocent.
She wouldn't have testified that she done it. They still would be looking for this suspect. And she could, have got away with it.
I feel like the reason that she did that was because it was an easy way. I just don't want them to believe that somehow.
Okay, let me click on this. Susan Smith mini documentary.
And he's got the kid? Yes, ma'am. In her car. I don't.
Here's the 911 call.
I need to call along, get them down here.
3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex Smith have been missing 8 days.
9 days.
Again, the search is on.
This is the
Our lives
first
have been
carjacking.
torn apart.
Susan and David Smith came out of seclusion.
There's speculation this could
Law
be a
enforcement
hoax.
cannot rule out anything.
So, bingo. We sent one of our...
Hold on, that's not a good one. I can't find none of her old interviews. Let me punch in with news and see. I wanted to listen to one of them. Most of them's just like a bunch of clips put together. There's Susan Smith documentary. Here's something. Susan Smith's ex-husband talks about tragedy. Here's a Susan Smith clip, but it's only like 29.
8 days since Susan Smith claims a carjacker stole her 2 babies. What everyone hoped would be a joyous appearance by Susan and David Smith becomes yet another anguished plea.
I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home to us where they belong.
Please bring them home. And when she's saying that, guys, her eyes was totally closed. Not one freaking tear. Yeah, she about started a damn race war, Donald. I mean, people was outraged. The black community was freaking outraged. I'm going to see if I can find, because I got a minute. Y'all just bear with me. I'm going to get on my phone here and see if I can find Susan Smith news interview, because she was on Good Morning America and everything. That last interview her and David sat down with, that's the day that she confessed. Right after that interview, she told David and them she had to go do something in town, but what she done is she went and met the sheriff at the church, and she finally confessed. Let's see. Susan Smith. Let me go to the videos here. It's a damn shame you can't find something real quick. I should have had this already done. Just scrolling here. Old news interviews, what we need. Everybody's done so many videos. WYFF. Let me do that. Let me punch that in. WYFF. 25-second. News clip, Susan Smith. I think we clipped on that one. It had a bunch of them put together. I'm going to find it, guys. Oh, crap. Let me go back. I think I found it. Susan Smith. This is only 24 seconds, though. Oh, crap. They've got it in Spanish. Crap, I can't find it. I'm like all the way down here in videos. It's a damn shame I can't find that. I wanted to make fun of her. But please bring my babies home. She kills me. I mean, did she really think that she was going to get away with that? I can't find it, guys. I'm just going to get back to my chat and chat with y'all for a minute. Y'all please remember David in y'all's thoughts and prayers today. I'm going to show y'all what David Smith looks like with his family now. Let me find it. David Smith. I'm going to find those Susan Smith interviews, and I'm going to put them together in a video and put it up on the channel. David Smith. There's a lot of David Smith, so I got to put Susan's name in there. David Smith today. Here he is with his family. Let me get it pulled up. I'm going to get that. I want to read the book Beyond All Reason, My Life with Susan Smith by David Smith. That's going to be a good book. I'm also going to order the Fatal Vision book. And after I get done with it, I'll pass it on to someone else. We should have a book club if we had time. So here is David with his family. He's got a daughter and a son. There's his wife. This is David Smith with his wife and 2 children now, ex-husband Susan Smith and father of Michael and Alex. There he is. There's the book he wrote, Beyond All Reasons, My Life with Susan Smith. There he is. When he went on the Oprah show. Good looking guy. There's those stupid Susan Smith. You know, I never did understand what Tom Finley and David found attractive about her at all. She's not an attractive woman at all, especially back then. Look at that old bushy hair. I mean, you know, back then in the early 90s, people wore their hair like that, but not everybody's was bushy like this. Look how bushy her hair is in the back. Okay, there were some things I forgot to discuss this morning, such as Susan Smith's stepfather, Beverly. His name was Beverly. Now, allegedly, they did have a sexual relationship from the time that Susan was a teenager up until a few months before the murders. She actually told Tom Finley about it when she went to the office begging him to be in her life and date her. You know, she told him that to make him feel sorry for her, but he didn't feel sorry for Susan because he looked at it like the same way I look at it. Hey, after you got out of the house, you should, you know, you should have told someone or ended that. But no, she continued to sleep with her stepfather. Also, she also tried to tell Tom that she slept with Tom's dad, the owner of the company. Was it called Console Company? To make him mad and jealous. That just made him not want to be with Susan even more. See, in my opinion, Tom was trying to let her down easy. He looked at Susan as white trash. I don't know if it's because he growed up wealthy was one of the reasons, and the major reason is because Susan was trash. You know, she thought the way to be liked was like to sleep around with people. The way to get a man is to make, you know, him jealous. Remember the sketch of the description of the man she gave to police? Yeah. Yeah, she couldn't even give, well, of course she couldn't give a good composite sketch, Vicky, because, you know, it was a fictitious person, however you say it. Let me see if I can pull that sketch up. Said he had a toboggan on. Right here he is. Why did she say black man? Why did it have to be a black man? Let me see. Open image, a new tab. Okay. It's not very big, but here. Why did she have to say black man for? Because black people do all the bad stuff? Is that what she was thinking? That's not true. Look. There's the sketch. She couldn't even describe the guy because he wasn't real. Boy, oh, did she make a major boo-boo when she said she was stopped at that traffic light, but there was no other cars around. That light wouldn't have been red. I mean, there would have had to have been another car on the opposite side of the road for that light to have been red. But the police said that's when he knew she did it, when she was so worried she should wear glasses on TV or not. Yeah, they knew she had done it. She failed a polygraph test. See, David passed his with flying colors, but she failed the polygraph. Can you imagine how he felt? I mean, he was holding her hand on all those interviews, really, really supporting her. Can you imagine how he felt when he learned the truth? There is a video I did see this morning. Let me see. Right here it is. How SLED agent Pete, hold on.
It just can't be legal.
How SLED agent Pete Logan got Susan Smith to confess to killing her children. Let me see. Skip ad.
To tell
He's
the
old
truth
now.
after so many days of denial, how difficult was that?
It was difficult, particularly she had been interviewed on several occasions before and was actually given a polygraph before. So when I went up there, started the interview, I knew in my own mind that I couldn't be hard on her because the last time somebody got difficult with her and hollered at her, she walked out of the interview. I knew that's what I was facing. And I also knew, John, that if we didn't get something out of Susan Smith, the case may not have been solved.
I'm going to show y'all his
Only
pic.
she and the man upstairs knew what she did. Nobody else saw it. Nobody else proved it. So I knew it was difficult, so I took it very slowly. 5 days of interviews to get to the end of it. Well, actually, I have to give credit to a maintenance man in the area who knew that the traffic light, where she says the kidnap occurred, doesn't turn red if there's no cars at the intersection. It's always green. And she was saying that she was stopped there and that's where she was kidnapped. And so when I confronted her with that, I finally got the truth out of her. And what I did, I gave her another avenue to go in. I gave her the avenue of, could this have happened somewhere else because the light would have turned green and you wouldn't have been stopped. And finally, after a while, she went down that road and said, yes, it happened over here 10 miles away at a little town. And so then I knew that probably had her foot in the door and that she probably was going to tell us later on what happened.
Very smart.
That turned the point. In fact, I told her to go home, and I said, go home and write a statement as to everything that happened when you went to the new place. She came in the next day with a statement in detail about it. And of course, the sheriff and I then decided, well, we'll tell her we had a surveillance of the place. And when we did that, it kind of went down. It went downhill for her, and she finally confessed.
And when she confessed, what kind of emotion did she show?
She dropped to the floor on her knees and crying hysterically. And it appeared to be a true lying. Maybe she's lying now because she got caught. And she's, it's a combination. Or she's lying about reliving what happened. Could be, either way.
And was that when she told you where the boys were?
Yeah.
The children were?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how did she say that?
She said, well, you won't find the boys. I think something to the effect they're with the car in the water. And then she later on told us in detail about what her in mind was. When the car was rolling, she realized something was really wrong. She said she tried to go in. She wanted to go in and stop the car, but didn't know how to put the brakes on and everything with the car rolling. Whether or not you want to believe that or not, that's questionable.
Okay, it's got a link to this full article under this video that was by the state. Let me see. I clicked on.
It's a simple combination of natural ingredients.
Oh crap! You got to pay for it. Oh crap! Well, I think the sheriff used something about God and something about clearing her mind to God and all that. And finally she admitted to what she had done to her kids and she dropped down on her knees and was crying. Was she crying because she felt bad about what she did? Probably not. She was crying because she knew she was caught and that everybody was going to know what she had done to her children. Vicky says, oh, Lord, I'm behind in chat. I've not even seen much of the chat. I'm going to go look at it here for a minute. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to do a little stream about Susan Smith since today, is the anniversary of Michael and Alex's murders. 28 years later. Can you guys believe that it's been 28 years later? And this case is really what got me into true crime, following it with my granny on the TV, which, by that time in 1994, I love scary movies and horror stuff, and I was just now getting into true crime, and this really got me into it. My granny watching it on TV, and I'll never forget it. We were sitting in the living room on her old couch. It's got like a pattern of we call them one of them water mill things with the water wheel and all that. We were sitting on it, and she said, that woman done something to those kids. Look, she won't even make eye contact. She wouldn't. Her eyes were closed when she was talking in that news interview. And she's like, she done something to those kids. And yep, 9 days later, she admits to Melanie Christina, 28 years later. Yeah, it's been 28 years. And just think, she got 30 years with the possibility of parole. And her dumbass thinks in November 2024, she's going to get paroled from prison and go live happily ever after with her boyfriend she's been writing love letters to. That says a lot about the men that are attracted to her. Just like with the prison guard, I saw a comment under that Dr. Oz video that someone said that says more about him than her. And actually, that is true. That does say more about him than her. I mean, because who in their right mind could be attracted to someone that killed their children? Hey, there's crazy women attracted to Chris Watts. There's people attracted to the Parkland shooter, Nicholas Cruz. After he went in there and shot up that school and killed all those kids, when he went to jail, he received like boxes and boxes of letters from girls that was attracted to him. I'll just never understand it. I heard someone the other day on a stream, I think they were talking about Granny's Watching or something, that channel, and they were saying that, like, you people idolize these serial killers. No, we don't idolize them. Personally, I don't. I can speak for myself. Idolize serial killers. I find them fascinating. Just the way their mind works and the crimes that they've done. I find them fascinating, how evil they are. I don't idolize them. Yeah, there are a lot of women who write Chris Watts. Yeah, I guarantee Chris Watts has got a girlfriend that, probably comes and visits him and every damn thing. I don't know who could even have empathy, love, or anything for someone that's, murdered their entire family, murdered their children. But Ted Bundy, look at Ted Bundy. There was women outside the courthouse in Florida when his trial was going on. I watched a news clip, and this one woman, young girl, she's like, he just doesn't look like someone that would be a murderer. Well, I mean, most serial killers, they don't go around with something stamped on them. Hey, I'm a serial killer. A lot of them, you would never, like Ted Bundy, you would never think he would do something like that. I mean, Ted Bundy was very charismatic, an attractive guy. People thought he had a good head on his shoulders, which he did not. I think some people's born evil. Like with Ted Bundy, they make the excuse that he thought his mom was his sister for a long time, and his grandparents was his parents. And then when he found out, it did something to his brain. No, I don't buy into that crap. I mean, when he was a little boy, when he was about 5 years old, he took knives from the kitchen and laid them around his aunt it was his aunt or cousin that was sleeping in the bed. She woke up and he was just standing there, and there was knives all around the bed. And, Ted didn't find out about his sister really being his mom until he was much, much older. I think he didn't find out until he got his birth certificate. Anyhow, let me see if I can get back to my chat real quick. We are going to be doing some older cases. Next, we're doing the boarding house murders, Dorothea Puente. She was a lady in California. It might have been Sacramento. It was Sacramento or San Francisco. I get them mixed up. But she ran this boarding house. And mostly the people that would live there were people that had been homeless, alcoholics, elderly. Anyway, she was murdering them, keeping their Social Security checks, and burying them in her backyard under rose bushes and stuff. Her name is Dorothea Puente. And actually, when they were digging up her backyard, I mean, she was an elderly lady, and she looked a lot older than what she was. She went and asked one of the investigators if she could go around the corner to the local hotel and get her a cup of coffee, because everything going on was just making her so nervous. And he was like, yeah, I'll walk you down there, because there's, a crowd gathered out in front of the house and stuff. So he walks her to get her a cup of coffee, and then he goes back and finishes digging in the yard, and she disappears. She takes off. And she takes off to LA. They think she was going to try to go across the border, but Dorothea couldn't help herself. She had already spotted her out another victim. Thankfully, she didn't kill him, and he recognized her, and he alerted the FBI, and they went and arrested her and brought her back to Sacramento. But let's see, how many bodies did they find in that yard? 6 or 7. 6 or 7. See, Dorothea, she had been, before she opened that boarding house, she had already been to prison for stealing someone's checks. So this time when she decided to steal checks, she was like, hey, I'm not going to get in trouble for it. I'll just kill the people, keep their Social Security checks. And that's what she done. She was a convicted felon. She wasn't supposed to be running a boarding house at all, even though her probation officer visited there. He didn't know she was running a boarding house. Melanie, Christina, looking forward to that. So they say, yeah. And if you want to know about Dorothea Puente, if you've got Xfinity on demand, that's where I watch all my stuff on. You can go to watch TV shows, go to the Oxygen channel, and go under where it says specials. And it's called The Boarding House Murders. It's 2 parts. I don't know if we'll do that tomorrow, but it will be sometime this week. That'll be a good stream. It's very, very interesting. Also, guys, I saw this morning that Scott Peterson has been moved from death row. He's been moved from San Quentin and put, I guess, in a regular freaking prison. Also, Harmony Montgomery's father was arrested. Hold on, lady. I'm about done. Lady's behind me, sticking her head around my chair. Harmony. Let me look. I'm looking something up here. Okay. Father of 5-year-old Harmony Montgomery charged with 2nd-degree murder. Let's read this before I get off here. The father of missing 5-year-old Harmony Montgomery has been arrested, charged with 2nd-degree murder in connection with her death. Adam Montgomery, 32, was also charged with falsifying physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, tampering with witnesses or informants. Harmony was reported missing in November 2021 by her mother, Crystal Sorey, who had last saw the girl during a FaceTime call in the spring of 2019. Well, she should have took her ass to the town that Harmony was living in and took the police to that guy's house. Police said Harmony was last seen in October 2019, and investigators concluded in August the 5-year-old had been murdered manifesting an extreme indifference to value of life by repeatedly striking Harmony in the head with a closed fist in Manchester on or about December 7th, 2019. Adam destroyed, concealed, or hid Harmony's body between December 7th, 2019 and March 4th, 2020, preventing authorities from conducting a proper investigation. Formella also said Adam purposely attempted to induce or otherwise cause Harmony's stepmother, Kayla Montgomery, to falsely testify in the investigation into Harmony's disappearance between December 7th, 2019 and January 4th, 2022. Hey, Kayla Montgomery, she knew what Adam had done to Harmony. Adam is scheduled to be arraigned at the Hillsborough County Superior Court Northern District in Manchester on Tuesday, which is today. CNN reached out to Adam's attorney, Caroline Smith, and Paige Buckley for comment. At a news conference, Manchester Police Chief Alan Aldenberg emotionally thanked those who helped find justice for Harmony. Although we are all pleased that we're able to bring forth these charges, they are of no solace to myself and the detectives behind me who have worked tirelessly on this investigation, and more importantly, they bring no solace to the loved ones of Harmony Montgomery and her family and friends, he said. So they've still not located her body. But they think that he beat her with his fist and killed her. I wonder where he hid her body at. And, it's just crazy that nobody was looking for this child for a freaking year. I mean, she was took from the mother, Crystal Sorey, because of drugs, and given to this piece of shit who's got a rap sheet long as my freaking body. It just don't make no sense. Yeah, she's probably going to testify for the prosecution. That's probably where they've got a lot of their evidence and stuff from. She's probably cooperating with them. Because like I said, she had to have known that he killed Harmony. She says that she thought Adam told her that Harmony went to Crystal's. But yet Caleb was still drawing food stamps on Harmony. I mean, if she really thought that in her head, wasn't she afraid that Crystal Sorey would get Harmony's Social Security number and go try to draw food stamps on her? Because, two people can't draw food stamps on the same kid. And when you put in them Social Security numbers, they do at the caseworkers, it will pop up that she's already on somebody's case. I'm so old. The first murder mystery I ever saw was President John F. Kennedy's head being blown away when I was 5. Oh my goodness. My granny says that she was watching that day on TV, because it was broadcast on national TV, him riding through Dallas and stuff. Lisa, do you think that, what was his name? Lee Harvey Oswald killed John F. Kennedy? A lot of people don't think he did it. Yeah, it's such a sad case. A lot of times they will give custody to these parents that are pieces of crap. And a lot of times it's because the caseworkers will be like, yeah, it's a fit home because they've been visiting a home. Of course the home's going to be in tip-top shape and the kids when they know social services is coming. Then after they get custody, the caseworker don't come around no more. And that's when the freaking abuse starts. I'm still not sure if it was Oswald. And then Jack Ruby, wasn't his name Jack Ruby? Wasn't he like a reporter or something? He killed Lee Harvey Oswald, right, Lisa? All that happened many months before I was freaking born. You know what I think's weird, guys? All like the major serial killers, it all happened like back in the 60s and 70s, 80s. You don't really find serial killers around anymore like that. Or at least we're not hearing about them because they ain't been caught yet. There was a bunch back then. You got Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Eileen Wuornos. I mean, there's just a bunch of them. I wonder if they will ever find Harmony or Summer. Poor little Summer. I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever find out what happened. Yes, Jack Ruby shot him in public. With Summer Wells, I don't know what happened to that child. I just think it's almost, I'm saying, impossible to come up in a freaking holler up on a hill where everybody's home, bunch of dogs around, and take your kid. I mean, it's not impossible. That could have happened. She could have wandered down that dog trail or something to the main road, which is just a little bitty road, 2-lane road, barely 2 lanes. And some weirdo could have come by, just so happened at that time. I don't know. A part of me thinks the child, even though that wasn't a good home, right? Dawn and Candace is cray-cray, not good parents. I think she could have wandered off and the searchers and the dogs just not found her. That's not entirely impossible. And then I thought maybe it was an accident and they covered it up. But there could have been an old well on that land that nobody knows about that she could have fell down in. But you would think cadaver dogs and tracking dogs would have found her if that was possible. But sometimes they do miss stuff. Hibiscus, I don't believe Summer was a victim of. No, stranger abduction, if you guys look it up, I'm going to look it up because I heard this on TV and I know I always say it to y'all. Stranger abduction is very rare. Let me put in is stranger. I got to get off here. I got to get some laundry done. Let's see. How often do a stranger abduction occur? Although the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children revised its estimate of stranger abductions to 4,000 to 2,000 per year, the earlier figure of 50,000 continues to be wild. Okay, what percentage of kidnappers are strangers? Okay, crime statistics have shown that the majority of abduction cases are committed by family members. However, 28% of kidnappings are committed by strangers. Only 28%. Most of the time, it is by a family member. Every 40 seconds, a child goes missing or is abducted in the United States. Approximately 840,000 children are reported missing each year, and the FBI estimates that between 85 and 90% of these are children. Yeah. Her mom took her off that hill and hid her, in my opinion. She had to have done something. I mean, Granny's home, Candace is home, the boys are home. Just so happens a whole damn pack of dogs ain't home, according to them. I mean, how is somebody going to get up there and take that child? And Candace is over there at her mommy's camper trailer, helping her get on a knee brace, which makes no sense. Nobody can put on a knee brace for you. They could try, but it won't be right. I don't understand that, why she couldn't put on her own damn knee brace. I'll tell you what I think about that bunch. They're a bunch of drinking rednecks and pill poppers and pill pushers, pill sellers. That's why old Granny had to go to the emergency room that day that Summer went missing. She went to get her some pain pills, probably so she could sell. Because most older people's got problems with their bones, they go to a damn orthopedic. Unless it's just an injury that just happened, you know. Like you fell or something, that's an emergency. But I don't think that was the case. Sounds like a familiar case. Yeah, I'd say Candace probably did do something. Nor do I think the cornbread mafia is involved. Craziest thing I ever heard. Hibiscus, do not get me laughing about the freaking cornbread mafia this morning. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. They got no affiliation with the cornbread mafia. The cornbread mafia used to be a bunch of marijuana sellers, moonshine sellers, and stuff. And they want to make out like it's like we're the real freaking mafia or something. Which it did have some rough customers, I guess. How would Don know the dogs were not there if he was at work? I think Jody Sue convinced them of the scream and they ran with it. Who knows what Jody Sue could have heard a freaking cat. Have you ever heard a cat cry or scream? It sounds like a baby crying. One time I was over at the bunny farm and I heard this baby crying. And I was like, oh my God, somebody's baby's laying somewhere. So I come back over here. The sound's coming from that old trailer over there. And I go over there and I look over the hill. And, there's big, huge boulders over the hill. There's a bunch of cats on that rock. And one of them was freaking crying. And it sounded just like a kid. I would like to know if Don was there or not. Now, allegedly he was at work, but I want the cops to come out and say, we have confirmed Don Wells was at work that whole day. That's what I want him to come out and say. He's ready to get out of jail, ain't he? I hope they keep themselves off YouTube. This should be a lesson for anybody. What not to do when your child is missing. Go on YouTube and act like fools and get out and be on a live stream drinking and driving and get cuffed and stuffed. That's good for him for being out drinking and driving. I mean, they turned Summer's case into a crap show. Here you got Molly Golightly going down to Don's house, screaming, hollering, and going on, just crazy stuff. I mean, they made it into a crap show. Now they're doing the same thing to Quentin Simon's case. You know, there was people cuffed and stuffed the other night because they wouldn't move out of the driveway. I reckon they've been beating on that house the windows, and I reckon Bullhorn Betty said something to the cops on her bullhorn. That's what I heard yesterday. I don't know if it's true. Just a bunch of freaking idiots. Oh, we will be hearing a ton from there, I'm sure, next week as Donnie Boy gets out of jail. Oh, Lord. I don't think I could allow him on my channel. Yeah, it would bring a lot of views, but I don't think I could conduct myself professionally because, you know, I would have a lot to say, especially about him and his sister, his stepsister he messed with. Then tried to act like, you know, she was a willing participant. A child can't be a willing participant in something like that. Don's sick. He's just sick. I hope they never get any of their kids back. Or calling the police, claiming your child is abducted, then having your friends come over. Yeah, Mike. Like John Benet Ramsey case. They call the police, then they call all their freaking friends to come over to the freaking crime scene. Contaminate the crime scene. And the stupid woman police detective tells John Ramsey and his friend to search the house. And that's when John Ramsey found her body in the basement. Well, the friend went down there once and looked in the basement. He'd opened up that door. But I guess he couldn't find the light switch, and he said he didn't see John Benet laying there. I think they banked on that friend finding her body there. Exactly, contamination. Yeah, that's just like what happened with the Jeffrey McDonald case. Like, the crime scene was contaminated because neighbors and everything was going through the crime scene that night. Hell, allegedly, Jeffrey McDonald's wallet was stolen by the ambulance driver that night. And allegedly, the ambulance driver picked up the flower pot and set it up right that was turned over. Yeah. They say that they use the McDonald case of what not to do when you're at a crime scene. That's what I heard on the documentary. That's exactly what they said. What not to do when you're at a crime scene. They didn't bag the children's hands, Colette's hands, or anything. Usually when there's a crime scene like that, before they move the body, they bag the hands so no evidence is lost. Oh, John Benet haunts us at Christmas time. Poor little angel. Wasn't she beautiful? Beautiful little girl. You know, a lot of people thought badly of, I cannot remember her name right now. John Benet's mom, Patsy, because she put her in beauty pageants, but a lot of people do that. I don't think that had anything to do with the murder. John Benet being in the glitz pageants. Now, some people put their little girls and little boys in just the regular natural pageants. But a lot of these pageants this day and time are glitz. I mean, full glitz. They got to have hair, nails, tans, everything. I wouldn't do that to my little girl. If I had a little girl. I'm not saying I wouldn't put her in a pageant because I like pretty little dresses and stuff. But I wouldn't do that full glitz. That's too much. I used to watch Toddlers and Tiaras. Them little girls, they wore some little skimpy stuff for kids. Doing their routines and stuff, their talent. Mike says, I know I could go on and on about Patsy and John. Yeah, I agree. The pageants were not why she was killed. No. And you know, I think a family friend actually sold those videos to the media. of John Bonet and the pageants. Yeah, that's how the media got their hands on those pageant tapes. Anyways, guys, I've got to get off here. I've got to get some laundry done for my son. It's all I do is laundry. I swear, he wants to wear the same freaking hoodies over and over, guys, and it kills me because I'm looking like at about 20 freaking hoodies right here right now. All them young boys they got favorite hoodies, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, guys, y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Be safe, be kind, and peace.